I think everything looks good.
Well, do you want to? Well, so we want to talk before we record. Do you want to do the rundown? How we want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have your uh your pod format up here on my phone. But
Okay.
I feel like we can start talking about the Bears game. I wasn't watching like super closely today because I was at my parents and we were like talking. So I was watching the Vikings game a bit. Didn't see too much for the Bears, but
Yeah, don't bother.
I figured you'd have me covered there.
Right. In the construction, I'm gonna put my light on. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a little dark in this room. I need like either brighter light or a second light or something, but we can keep working on that. Yeah, thanks for being flexible with me. This was I forgot we had talked about recording today, and I was like, oh shit. Like,
As if we could make it happen. Really, I mean.
No, this is good. I'd rather do it tonight. I feel like after Monday work, I'm just like fucking spent, especially about
Back in it.
Yeah, my work is. I've been so fucking crazy at work for like the last 3 months since we've had 2 people leaving. I've been doing my job plus half another person's job for like 3 months. So I'm just like, by the time I get to the end of the day, my brain is static, my head is spinning. I'm just like, holy fuck, like trying to keep track of way too many things.
Preach, brother. Start keeping a log of all your accomplishments because you're gonna want that ammunition when you go in to say, "Hey,
yeah,
let's either get me a guy or get me paid."
Yeah, no, I've been I've been keeping receipts and talking about the promotion for a while. That's a whole nother conversation though. Fucking office politics. I'm so bad at it. Accidentally make my boss look bad one time, and I think it set my promotion back like fucking 4 months.
What a prick.
I'm like, well, damn, Lauren, like, don't make me answer the like, you know, there's just a situation where like, so she got asked a question and she didn't know how the fuck to answer it. She answered it really bad, and they're like, well, we can't tell the client that. And I was like, you know, I'm not one to really hold my tongue too much, so I'm like, here's what we should tell the client. And then like our boss's boss was like, yeah, just take what he said, say that exact thing to the client, which is great. But then my boss, who has more control over my promotion, got shown up, and I don't think she liked that very much. It's okay, I got back in her good graces, but set me back a little bit, I think.
Brutal.
Anyway, let's get into some football, shall we?
Yeah, let's you want to start on a high note or the low note?
Well, let's start with this week 3 Sunday night. I got the KC Falcons game on my second screen over here. I'll keep a little eye on that, but you know, how about this? I'll tell you my opinion from the Bears from like an outsider. I watched the highlight video on YouTube. I will say there's plenty of positives there. Positives there. Like, it was such an interesting game because Caleb, like, I don't know if he threw the same amount of interceptions as Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson looked way worse. And his interceptions were so much more, they were terrible overthrows, like really inaccurate, errant throws. And what Caleb had the one where like Rome Odunze, it was on Rome. He like bobbled one, and then another one wasn't really a bad throw. It was a good play by the defense. And well, yeah, I didn't even look at the stat line until you sent it to me in the email, but he threw 350 yards. Is that what first time since Brian Hoyer in 2016? Am I getting that stat right?
Brutal. Yeah, and then the first time before that was like in the 90s. So it's never good if you have a quarterback throwing the ball 52 times, but
he threw it 52 times.
Worried about. It was 33 of 52.
There's no way they even have 52 pass plays. Like, that's crazy. Yeah,
it's nuts. So to answer your question, yes, they both threw 2 picks. Caleb had a strip fumble too.
So there was that. That could happen to anyone. That could happen to a veteran quarterback. Like, that's not even a rookie mistake. It's just like unfortunate timing.
Yeah, he was in his windup. His ball was here, and then ball got stripped. The issue with that is you have 2 tight ends blocking a rookie first-round pick like Latu Latu. But the way that they were lined up, Komet had one-on-one on the outside shoulder, so the inside help was irrelevant because he just took a wide 9 and it just got smoked. Like, it's just, that was bad schematically.
Yeah, not necessarily on Caleb though.
Or Caleb. Yeah, exactly.
Well, why don't you start at the top? Tell me, just start at the top. How the game go? What were your thoughts? What are your reactions?
Overall, that game was brutal. It was tough to watch.
Even with
I'm
Caleb
not
throwing
trying to.
350.
Yeah, it was brutal. Because it was the whole. We didn't score the first half, and then it was like 7-3 most of the game. And then the scoreboard notched up a little bit. They scored to go ahead, 2 scores, maybe 3. And then we scored, just doing the 2-minute offense down quick. So the stat lines got padded really quick. Also, there was a 50-yard bomb at the end of the first half. The Hail Mary was in the end zone.
Oh,
It was tipped. So they got a 50-yard completion on that, which meant
right,
nothing.
right.
So
You can tell DJ Moore was so. What do you think he was pissed off about? He was pissed off. Do you think he was just like, damn, we didn't get in the end zone? Or he's like, damn, we didn't even have a second to like run it? Was there something else he was maybe irritated about besides?
I think it's just he didn't get in because really that play, that's what you're supposed to do. You got 3 guys on the jump, and if you can't get it, tip it to the guy behind and try and trail in. The fact that they had someone perfectly aligned, already biting on his ankles, another guy going over the top. I mean, it was that could have gotten in, and I think he knew that.
Yeah.
Just with the luck of it. But again, that's really all luck play. So it was one of those games where, it's so typical Bears. The defense was holding us in this game. 2 rookie-ish quarterbacks making bad choices. The first pick, the one to Rome was tough because he was fitting it in cover 2. It was a high ball. It was just not a whole lot you could do with the tip. The other one, actually that pick where he threw it to the flat is because that was like his third read that he telegraphed it. I mean, that was late. He was staring it down. So he just basically said, hey, I'm going to throw it there. And then it was the easiest thing for the defense. So just that was dumb. But you also saw a lot of progression from Caleb. He was throwing strikes. Rome Odunze had a big game. Finally got off the for train through his first career touchdown path was to Rome. It was sweet to see them fighting. Their celebration was who's getting the ball. That was pretty funny.
I didn't see that one. I'll have to go back and look at that. Well, what they're like playing? Oh, like him and Caleb were playing tug of war for the first touchdown
Rome caught the ball, and he's got it, and he's like, they're like trotting off the field, and he's kind of like, "Oh, come get it!" And then they're both like, you can see they're over exaggerating the play. Cool.
Yeah, that's good though. That's cool.
Yeah, but they same stuff as last week. Terrible offensive line, can't run the ball. The offensive coordinator has no identity, has no real plan. He's just out there calling plays, not calling a game. It really was incredibly predictable.
Yeah.
Stop running plays that your blockers can't execute. Stop running simple plays because the defense, they're all very predictable. I'm not going to go through each drive, but then it came down to it. Eberflus, again, mismanaged the game, mismanaged timeouts. They couldn't decide if they're going two or going for 1 there in the third or fourth quarter, and they burnt an early timeout, which they absolutely needed at the end of the game. This is exactly why we lost those 3 games last year by it was 91%, 97% chance to win these games, and we blow it. I mean, right now, I understand you're going to have each team has got to grow from the start of the season. Each team's its new team every year. Got it.
Yeah.
But the same type of mistakes, the complete lack of discipline, both from a coaching perspective and from the offensive line, absolutely brutal. I mean, Richardson tried to give away that game.
He looked bad, like awful. I mean, granted, and here's the thing: I only watched the highlights on YouTube, which is like a 12-minute clip, but you don't really get a sense. They don't show you the middling plays where like you see a bad decision, but it just results in an incompletion. But I got the sense just from some of those terrible throws from Richardson that like it just was not going well for him.
It was brutal. I mean, the guy's got no accuracy to him. It's like it felt like all the hype of this year going into the year was like the same hype we got. Oh, this is gonna be Justin Fields' breakout year because he's gonna run. He's gonna be throwing all over the place, deep shots. Because prototypically they're very similar. So yeah, you see the bad pick in the end zone as they're driving because he tried to float one and it got tipped. So that's not entirely on him. It was back in the end zone over everybody. Would have been that looked bad, not as bad, but was really terrible. You got 3rd and short, 4th and short, 2nd and medium. Defense is giving you 6 to 8 yards, and he's missing those little arrow routes, the quick out routes. He's missing those over their head.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
Those should be automatic in the NFL for an NFL quarterback.
100%. And that's exactly what Tiki was talking about, and McCourty, the guys in the booth were talking about with Caleb, is like, he's gotten better the last couple of weeks. Just get it out quick. And then they were also dogging the OC, is like, stop running these longer developing plays. Just get him in a rhythm. They've got no idea how to do that. And it's
like you gave my 12-year-old cousin the controller in Madden, was like, Yeah, go crazy.
I'm going to start using that analogy. That's awesome. So there's really no real good takeaways. They are who we thought they were. I mean, it's really the same old shit, different story, same old Bears. And like last year, my little finishing point on this, like last year, it took us 3 games. We had all of the hype, solid defense, continuity, same coach back. Okay, second year in an offense, we have a new OC. Fields is going to go nuts. We're going to run all over the place. DJ's going to be healthy. Da da da. By week 3, that balloon was completely fucking popped. Well, that was already popped by halftime of this game. So it's
Okay.
2.5 weeks and we're already fucking not going to win 7 games just because it's the same old shit.
Let me pause you there because I got halfway through. I got to halftime on that highlight reel, and I had a question.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, but by the time I finished the highlight reel, I was like, okay, I know what the answer is going to be. When I got halfway through that clip, and I was going to ask you, right now, would you trade Caleb Williams for Anthony Richardson? No. Because again, that second half, I was like, oh, Caleb, he's showing major improvement from, I think, week to week, at least from week 2 to week 3. I mean, he looked good out there. Like, he looked solid, I thought, for the most part. At least from the highlights. I'm only watching the highlights.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Justin Fields for Anthony Richardson. Fair. It's that bad because you can see with the Bears, no offensive line. With Pittsburgh, no offensive line, and the whole offensive line. Anthony Richardson has a top 5 offensive line. Yeah. They were getting push on our defensive line, who is not supposed to be that great as far as like sack numbers. But PFF had them ranked the number 4 best defensive line coming into this week.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a solid line. You have the talent there.
We were going backwards. Last year, we were the number 1 defense against the run. We got, I mean, Taylor walked all over us.
He had a nice game. He had some nice runs that were like, this isn't a run that a Jag could do. With this whole talk of like the devaluation of the running back market, which we could do a whole podcast on that because I think we're starting to see a little flip there with like Saquon having the year he's having. I think there's reason to pay some of those like top tier backs where like they got a little something extra that you pay for. Because Jonathan Taylor, he had one move where he got like 5 yards, he got past the line and he just put a juke on a linebacker and I think he scored on the play and I was like, that was a nice run.
There was a little skip jump there, jump cut. That was bursty because you don't really think of him as being the sprinter, this bursty guy because he's usually between the tackles. He's usually carrying guys forward, but no, he like teleported 3 feet. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Hats off to that. I'm totally with you though on the running back thing. The valuations are off. I think we're gonna have a market correction because you can't have, like we were talking about last week, you can't have the lowest amount of touchdowns we've had in a decade passing in an only passing league.
Right.
And continue to pay premiums, quarterback money to receivers who are just getting 4 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. That is not, today, we could talk about this later. I didn't get the chance to finish the game. Brandon Ayuk, what a pain in the ass. You see him holding out, and then he drops like 3 balls today.
Did he really? I didn't watch the Niners game at all.
It was absolutely brutal. How does Juwan Jennings have something like 8 catches, 140 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and Ayuk has got 4 for 40? Crazy. And he's had the opportunities. They had the same amount of targets. Ayuk had these balls hit him in the hand. I guess we do need to practice in the offseason.
Do you think he's salty against the GM and he's just sandbagging him?
It is embarrassing. I got a buddy that lives out by us, but he's a Niners fan habitually. And yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm mad for you watching this. It's so embarrassing. And they ended up losing the game on a last-second field goal because they blew it. And that there was a couple of times Ayuk could have either kept momentum going or clinched the game.
Crazy.
Anyway, the market's going to correct soon, I think. I don't think we're going to keep seeing all these, the number keep going up and up and up on these guys.
Yeah.
The numbers just don't support it. The volume of production just is not supported.
Yeah. 2 more thoughts on the Bears. First one, point I've been making since we started talking, Bears-Vikings. Eberflus. I was saying that's been my prediction. I don't think it's changed at all. I see him losing his job at some. The only problem is it's like who takes over because it doesn't seem like the offensive coordinator would. Who's your D coordinator?
Well, Flus is calling the plays. Our defensive coordinator we just brought in. His name is Eric Washington. He used to be the defensive line coach for the Bears way back. He left for Buffalo. He was under Leslie Frazier in Buffalo the last couple of years, and so we brought him over. Dang. Seems like a solid dude, very military style, gets a lot out of just your base rush. They don't do a lot of exotic blitzing.
Yeah.
But Eberflus is the one calling the plays inevitably. So.
Yeah, I don't like Flus. I watching the Hard Knocks. I was like, I don't think this guy's got an aura about him.
You did.
And like the way he's calling these plays doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Yeah, the thing that I was giving him coming into this season was just the continuity, having 3 years of consistency and culture. Not so much the man, but man, it's yeah. Where do you go from here?
You need
I agree.
results.
He should be gone if they can't get we have this is our cream puff part of the schedule, or so it should be. I mean, the Bears don't typically fire coaches in the middle of the season. They'll wait till the end of the year.
Yeah.
One, because they're cheap, but two, it's because they're, how they stand behind their guys type of thing, the
Yep.
reputation of it all. But yeah, it's going south quick, and I'm trying to differentiate myself. I don't know exactly how to do it yet. Not as a homer, and not as a guy who's just impatient and all this stuff on the hype. It's just really I haven't seen anything different in 3 years under him, especially in finding an identity, finding something that works on offense, because I'm really run the damn ball. That's exactly how the Bears lost the game. They could not run the ball. But guess what? Most of the game, the Colts could not run the ball, but they stuck to it. And when did it start to break down for the Bears? Is when they kept running the ball late in the third, into the fourth. You had 2 or 3 bounce out, and that's the ball game.
Yeah.
Chewed up clock, you had burst yards, and it opened everything up for them. Exactly how you should be scheming a game. Steichen was obviously limited by the play of his quarterback, but he schemed a game and called the game well. And they ended up winning and sticking consistent to an identity.
Well, good,
Crazy. Who
good,
knew, right? Weird.
good segue here. What the hell is going on with DeAndre Swift? My amateur opinion is he looks slow. He looks like he's out of shape or something. Because the picture you showed me, I'll pop it up here. But like, how does he not? You tell me he can't turn the edge there? You tell me he can't get around the corner?
No, you watch that in film. The guy, that was not possible. That was that one. I don't think prime AP is hitting that corner.
Oh, you don't
And
think
I'm
so?
not defending Swift. I'm not defending Swift. That's just how bad of a play call that was. The OC just totally sold his guys out there.
Oh, so you're saying that you're not surprised? Because when I watched that play, I was like, how did he not? Like he should. I thought he should have got like a fast running back. Should have been able to get around the edge there.
No, that wasn't going to happen because you had the edge guy over the tackle, you had a guy outside the tackle, and then you had an alley defender. It wasn't going to happen. So part of that play, the announcer was talking about, they got burnt bad on a goal line play last week on option, and so that's where the Bears probably came up with that. But Caleb came in the post game presser and said, "Yeah, we thought we had him here. We know it's worked in the past, but they did not crash and you do the same alignments as we saw in film." So again, fucking coaching. Wow.
Well,
Didn't prepare your guys. You didn't think they would adjust. You think they're going to do the same shit the next week?
well, I feel like you've already touched on this, but to close it out for the Bears, what do they need to do next week?
Run the damn ball.
Yeah.
And not have your rookie quarterback throw the ball 52 times. He shouldn't be icing his shoulder 4th week into the season.
Was he doing that on the sidelines?
No, but he better be. No, not the sidelines. I'm saying all week he's probably going to take Monday off because he's got a Tuesday off because he's going to ice that thing. That's crazy.
Wow.
52 throws, dude.
Well, cool. Should we talk Vikings?
Yeah, let's talk Vikings. Because all I'm going to do is get mad.
Yeah, where were you at on the heat scale 1 to 10 after the game, and where are you at right now? 10 being like you're like the freaking character from Inside Out and your head's on fire. 1 is you're ice cool.
But mad? I don't know. Probably like a 4 or 5. It's more of a deflation. It's more of a disappointment now. Oh, here we go again. Same old shit. What's the point? Why do I even bother getting excited? That type of thing. It's more depressing than upset than like mad, you know?
I'm very familiar with the with the feeling. Trust
the fact
me.
that we hit this week 3 is just that's the whole what, you know. We're talking like potential wild card. You got all the analysts like, we see this going somewhere. It's like, yeah, no. We've seen this. Unless there's a dramatic change just off of luck, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, at least you got the week 1 win to lean on.
Do we? Because again, that was all defense. That wasn't a team win. That wasn't a good
And Caleb's
win.
grown a lot since then. The offense does look better since then.
True.
So you got something to look forward to,
Caleb
I think.
looks better. Caleb looks better for sure. And it's nice to see Rome kind of grow a little bit. Keenan Allen being out the last 2 games has definitely kind of forced that. But really, I just have this itch in the back of my neck, just like this offensive line's going to get him killed.
Yeah.
And then what? Like, really, is it really worth him getting hurt and then out the last 8 games of the year. Like, what was that for? I'd
Yeah.
rather just have him sit all year.
That's fair. I think you guys have a good chance. I mean, they always say like wide receivers, like rookie wide receivers, don't hit their stride till the back half of the year. I'm sure the same thing will happen with Caleb, especially as he develops that relationship with Rome. I could see you guys going on a tear, especially your last 4, 5, 6 games are NFC North games, right?
They're all division games. It could change a lot. But hey, tell that comment to Neighbors and Harrison Jr. They both got 2 touchdowns the last 2 games. Or
That's
something.
true.
They're both going off right now.
True.
Anyway, speaking of going off, I think before I explode here, let's transition to Justin Jefferson's Vikings here.
You tell me. Day. Give me the outsider perspective. What did you see?
So I didn't get to watch the game, but it didn't go out in the stat book the way that I thought it would, especially because you guys were playing Houston the week after we did, and I thought that was going to be just a physical, competitive game. It really wasn't, being 34-7 in Minnesota's favor at Minnesota.
I mean, it was physical. It was physical, but okay. I don't think anyone saw the Vikings dominating the way they did.
Well, that's the thing is, did they or didn't they? Obviously they did on the scoreboard, but I'm just looking here. TOP, they're off by 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Houston had the ball more. You guys had 20 less yards than them. They just didn't run the ball. First downs were the same by 2. Go ahead.
Well, we were just so much more efficient. When you sent me the box score, I was like, wow, you show someone this without the final score, you would think it would be an even game or that even Houston won. First downs, right. Minnesota edged them out just a little bit. Total yards, that Houston had more total yards. But the Vikings just played really efficiently. What else did you see?
Well, I saw this and it was really interesting. So they had twice as many penalties for 3 times as many yards. That'll get to you. Yep. They gave up 5 sacks. You guys gave up 4. So that was the same. But the real difference was 2 picks. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with field position. So Minnesota had 156 passing yards and 118 rushing yards. Houston had 258 passing and only 38 rushing. So I thought for sure that was going to be an advantage to you guys. But then realizing you guys didn't throw that well, that many. But Darnold was, he had 120 passer rating. He had 4 touchdowns on 180 yards. Aaron Jones, under 20 carries, had 102 rushing yards. And then, JJ, 6 balls, 80 yards and a touch. 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, 2 receivers, a running back, and a tight end. That is efficient, as you said. That is even distribution. That is from all angles. That is keeping the defense honest. I'm sure they had a better plan for blitz package pickups too. Well-coached game. And I hate to say it, but I'm getting jealous of just having a game plan, being able to execute it, and stick to your game plan on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, one of the points I was going to make is just that Kevin O'Connell, what the hell? I lost the crap. I lost our video in OBS. Hold on. I might just stop the recording and restart it. I'm not sure if it's actually recording. I'm just going to. We're back in.
What worked and why
worked? So there's 2 different ways you can capture video that's going on your screen. One is program capture, which I was using before, which just says, hey, capture what's going on Discord, even if you don't have Discord up on the screen. That was working fine. And then all of a sudden it just stopped working. So now I'm just doing display capture. So now it's just going to capture anything that's on my screen. If I go over to Google Chrome, it's going to start capturing Google Chrome, but I'm just going to stay on Discord. Weird. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, back to the program. Vikings, Jefferson. I have a weird feeling I haven't had as a Vikings fan for a long time. They had a stat on screen that it was let me
guess. Is it called hope?
No, we've had plenty of that. We've had plenty of hope. I don't even know what to describe it as, but I'll use a statistic to help, which is the statistic is this is the first Vikings victory by 3 touchdowns or more since 2019. This is the first time we've had a comfy win in 5 years. which feels that, and that's the feeling. The last 3 years has been every game is like a heart attack. Like every game has been close. With that, like we had the season 2 seasons ago where we went 13-3, had 10 or 11 one-score games, and half of those games were crazy flukes. You had the Buffalo game where Josh Allen fumbles it in his own end zone for like the last play of the game. You had the Colts comeback, biggest comeback of all time.
Yep, that was huge.
This is the first game where we're just, you're waiting for the shoe to drop. When we're up, we're like, well, okay, how are we going to screw this up? And it just never happened.
3 scores halfway through the third.
We just kept rolling, and that brings me to the point, which is like Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, just a match made in heaven. And I think what I'm really seeing around the league is how much of an effect coaching has on the success of a team. It's why, I mean, Brian Flores, obviously he was head coach of Miami, had a decent amount of success there. I honestly, I mean, love the guy, but I hope he's blackballed from being a head coach so he's our defensive coordinator forever, because the other insight I'll make here is we haven't seen the Minnesota Vikings offense play where there isn't pressure on them. Like when they're able to play free because they have scores and they're not worried about making a mistake. And it's like they can just play how they want to play. They can stick to whatever game plan, whatever game script they came up with for the week. And it's like Justin Jefferson, I don't know if you saw this, if you just looked at the highlights, he had 2 drops, 2 easy uncovered drops. And like that would be devastating.
Too quick.
That would be so devastating. Like last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where we, again, your offense has to be perfect to keep you in the game. And all of a sudden it's like we blow 2 drives because of stupid drops from our top player, the best player on our team. And it's just water off a duck's back. Didn't really matter. Didn't affect us because that defense is so effective. And Brian Flores is definitely like, the star right now. Everyone's like gushing about the defense, but it's like the offense put up 34 points. Was that the final score? 31, 34 points, 4 touchdowns from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold leading the league in passing touchdowns, just like everyone expected back in March, back in August. It's like, It's like these two, Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, are just so good at what they do. Kevin O'Connell's such a good offensive coordinator and head coach. He's getting the most out of Sam Darnold. Brian Flores' defense is just operating on another level right now. And there's really, I don't think it's a bunch of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Gimmicky. It's not like they're running some gimmicky scheme that's going to get figured out. I mean, there's a little, there's that, a standard amount of, disguising what you're doing before the pre-snap, but there's really what you just see is the players are making great plays. Like they're getting the most out of these players right now. And coming back to that feeling, it's just like, are we good? Are we like really good this year? Is this what being really good feels like? Yeah, it's like this is the Vikings team I'm used to. It feels great, but again, it's just like, as a Vikings fan, it's like the better we are, it's just setting us up for a bigger fail down the road. So I'm still just like, I don't want to get excited. You're making it hard to not get excited about this team, but crazy. Oh, and Sam Darnold getting rolled up on. It's Sally shared this tweet with me that was like, if you would have told someone in March that, a whole stadium let out a collective sigh of relief when Sam Darnold came out of the injury tent and got back on the field, no one would have believed you. But he won. I think he won.
Mullins.
I think he won so many fans today. Like it's such a huge they talk, you hear a lot of talk about like moral losses. This wasn't just a win. This is like a moral win. Like to see Sam Darnold, he comes back in from the injury and throws a touchdown that ices the game. Basically, it's like puts it well out of reach for the Houstons at that point in the game. And all of a sudden, it's just like, what do we have here? I mean, there's Case Keenum. There's the Case Keenum year where like we really got a lot out of him. But this isn't even like. This is different. Like Sam Darnold is calm. He's in control. He had a couple knucklehead plays, but not really that bad. He honestly, he looks like a better Kirk Cousins. Plain and simple.
Yeah, younger, a little more mobile. And just think about what that's going to look like too when you finally get Jordan Addison back in a week or two, and then after that you're going to get
Hawkinson.
Yeah, just more of a balance on offense. Not that it's not balanced now because you guys are doing a great job, especially using your backs. evenly. I'll venture to give another compliment too, because talking before the game last week, kind of projecting ahead to what this game could look like. You guys really were messing with Slowick, the play caller for Houston's offense. He's always got answers for things, and that's why he was the hottest candidate for a head coaching job between him and Ben Johnson on offense. That didn't take a job because he wanted to come back and do something great. That's a guy who I thought would have more checks, more cheats against the blitz and the exotic looks, because that's exactly what that West Coast offense is supposed to do. It's supposed to be consistent. It's supposed to be even looks so that you can counter off of those things.
Yep.
Defense guessing. But it really sounds like the defense dictated terms. And that's another complaint I have with the Bears. We don't dictate anything. We've always, even since Nagy, take what the defense gives you. It's like, well, you're always going to get smacked. And why can I, a guy who doesn't know enough about your scheme, why am I calling Nagy's plays from the couch every day? I'm about there with Waldron. I bet you by week 6, I'll be calling half the game. It's so bad. And then again, not to get back to the Bears, but for you guys to keep them guessing at all times at both sides of the ball, to keep them neutralized, it does take a half step off the pass rush when they have to think and read and key, as opposed to just play with your hair on fire. Yeah, that's something. If you can keep that consistency, the coaching is
Sky's
really,
the limit.
because again, every team's got talent. And you started this whole transition off talking about coaching in the league. And I agree. I mean, the whole league, exception of like 15%, 10%. So what's that, 4 or 5 teams on both ends of the bell curve that are really good and really bad? The rest of the league is like 1 or 2 bad plays away from being 500. So they all got some talent and some skill and some chance. But really, it's the coaching that comes through and either messes it up, or you end up having a year like you had with Kirk where you end up winning, was it 8 of them or 13 of those one-score games? You won them all that one year. Some of it's make your own luck, some of it's coaching. Now we're seeing this whole last game was all coaching.
Yeah, it's I don't know, something to behold. Again, I'm still waiting for the wheels to come off the bus as a Vikings fan, but we'll see. If we can't beat the Packers next week, which they probably won't. I didn't pick the Vikings to beat the Texans in my pick'em league. I didn't pick them to beat the Niners next week. I'll pick them to beat the Packers next week, and they'll probably do me dirty. But
right, that's how it goes.
Yeah. What else is there to say about the Vikings? I mean, it's. Did you see the series where the Houston offensive line? I think they had 4 penalties in a row. It was like 3 false starts and like a illegal formation, all back to back. On the
feed, yeah.
Unreal. Like, what was going on? And at that, I think the Vikings won right there. Right there, we shattered their confidence. Where it. I think they just get in the huddle, and at that point, everyone's questioning everything. If you're the Texans, they're just like, "What are we fucking doing? Like, what is happening?" Everyone's like, probably starting to point fingers a little bit. They're freaking out, and that's the first time where I was like, I think we won. Like, it's like the second quarter, and I think we just won the game. Like, they're out of
them boys
sorts.
were tired. Their brains were all in a trap, like in a bottle, and that was it was pretty impressive. So how do you think you keep that going? Obviously, you're going next week is a noon game at Lambeau. Green Bay's figuring out how to win with Malik Willis and a run game, which is 2 things we've never really expected. Top of your mind, keys to win the game.
I stop the run. Obviously, stop the run. I think if you can key in, I expect Flores to just bring a ton of pressure, make Malik Willis uncomfortable. You know, I've heard him talk in pressers. Maybe you can explain this concept for me, because like
we'll try.
Well, so like a lot of the press guys will ask Flores, he's like, "Oh, are you going to dial up the blitzes this week?" And Flores is like, "Well, you know, there's different kinds of blitzes. Like, you can blitz the pass or you can blitz the rush." It's like, what the hell do you mean? Like, what's the difference between blitzing the pass and blitzing the rush? Like just blitzing inside versus outside? Cover like blitzing gaps versus blitzing the edge?
To a point, yeah. I mean, so part, like when you're probably doing a blitz to get a pass rush, there's 2 different things you're doing. One, you're trying to trap the quarterback's eyes so that you have guys coming from all different directions, but you also have a guy dropping more than likely if it's a zone blitz. But what happens then when you're blitzing for a pass rush, you're giving up a hole in the defense, and that's what you're trying to disguise.
Right.
But you're also, more importantly, I think to my perspective, the biggest difference is the line play. When you're blitzing to get a pass rush, you have more games up front. You have more twists, you have more toms, you have more nuts, you have the different combinations with your looping line, and you have one guy trying to cross space with two guards, take up two blocks so the guy can come around it. When you're trying to blitz to stop the run, you're going to have more gap discipline. You're going to have guys come downhill. There's a chance too, like you're going to have the defensive take up a block or try to get to this space because you're in understanding the offensive scheme. If they're an outside zone, you're trying to cut off that side, get the over pursuit to cut back, and you have a linebacker intentionally coming downhill. So that's an extra step, you would think, as opposed to reading your key then going. I'm going right at the snap to fill that hole and like cut that off backside because I know my line is flowing and going to try and cut pursuit or to create pursuit so they know I'm going to be right there. So
perfect. Okay, so what we were just talking about with the Vikings Packers and how McFleur? What's Matt LaFleur? Not McFleur. LaFleur. Oh, yeah, Matt LaFleur. There it is. And how he's getting the most out of. I'm gonna start calling McFlurry.
There you go.
Okay, let's talk about the North and how McFlurry is getting the most out of Malik Willis, which is just shocking, and I hate it. I was always hoping he was getting carried by Aaron Rodgers and maybe someone else, but God damn it, I hate to admit it. He seems like he's a good head coach. How do they pull out this game? Who were they even playing? They were playing Tennessee. Okay, that's why they were able to pull it out.
Looked like Levis was going to throw it again because he threw an early pick six. I'm like, this league might be done with Levis here with Manny's boy. But then you see Willis throughout the game goes 13-19, 200 plus yards, a touchdown throwing, and then he had 73 yards rushing and a touchdown off 6 attempts. So, I mean,
I gotta say, I'm a believer in Willis.
Offense for him.
I'm a believer in Willis long term. I think it's
what tells you that? What from draft to his time in Tennessee to now? Why do you say that?
Yeah, I think first off, he's got the physical tools. And you look back to like Peyton Manning's rookie.
He's 6 foot.
Is he really?
He's short.
Oh, well, he's fucking built. He's got big muscles.
All right. I mean, he's stocky. He's solid. Sorry, keep going.
But you look at Peyton Manning's rookie year, he threw a ton of interceptions, and I think it speaks to Will Levis that he makes some knucklehead like last week that
little falling flip to the house.
He'll figure that out. He'll stop doing that. But I think he's got a special something in him that makes him a little different. I'm a believer long term. Honestly, I'm already looking forward to next fantasy year. If the Tennessee Titans still start him, I'm high. I'm gonna draft him, dude. I'm telling you, I'm a believer in Will Levis. He looks like shit. He looks like an absolute dumbass right now, which is how I think the Packers pulled it out. Which shout out my fantasy teams. All 3 of them grabbed the Packers defense off waivers last week. They're my QB1.
I'm taking Andy Dalton before I take Will Levis. Just
do it. Which we can talk Andy Dalton in a second too. But
all right, I got something dialed up.
Okay. Yeah, Packers. I mean, they're finding ways to win with freaking Malik Willis after he joined the roster late. He's only been there for like a month. They got him late in training camp.
Weeks, yeah, right.
Impressive. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and from a fantasy perspective, I mean, the most frustrating roster right now because the 2 catches for Watson, 4 for Reed.
Oh, I'm not touching the wide receivers.
Yeah, 1 for Dobbs, 1 for Musgrave, 0 for Wicks, 2 for Kraft. Who cares? Jacobs and this other guy Wilson split carries. So, yeah, that was fantasy wise. I mean, it was a 30-14 win. It was a solid, convincing win. But fantasy wise,
you said it was 30-14. Was that the final score?
Well, exactly. It was the final score, and you're like, how did that happen? Same. Was yeah. The other team was Detroit and Arizona. That was 20-13 win.
Hold on, one more thought on the Packers though.
Do it, yeah, jump in.
Malik wins 2 games. Say he wins in Minnesota. Say Jordan Love comes back and he starts fucking losing. Do they have a
$50 million a year? No, they don't.
You don't think they have a quarterback controversy?
The way the football gods work, they should, but they won't.
Because they're paying them too much.
I love where you're
I would love to see that though.
It's not like in Carolina, like we were hitting at. Like that's a controversy for right now. But nah, Willis is not gonna. To me, the Willis thing right now, if that scenario plays out, he wins next week against you guys, wins a couple games in a row, affords Love and the Packers a chance to let that knee get healthy. I think he ends up as a Sam Darnold type deal where he earns himself a 1 year, a 2 year contract on another team.
Sure.
Feels like a Raiders quarterback to me, but I don't think there's any controversy.
I mean, hell, he kind of looks like Anthony Pierce.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Big stocky black guy.
Yeah, he got the energy. He's got the juice.
Yeah.
Give him that.
Okay, Detroit. I didn't watch any game film on Detroit. Didn't have a chance to. What'd you see?
Sure, I didn't get a ton either because I was flipping through. I was watching them just via Red Zone, so I was between that game, Dallas, Baltimore, the Niners, Rams. That was a lot of fun. 20-13 final over Arizona. Goff had 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Montgomery, 105 yards rushing and a touch. St. Brown, 7 for 75 and a touch. What was cool is I think it was third or fourth quarter. They scored on like a 20-something yard hook and ladder.
Yeah.
Curled and flip it to Gibbs. It was the guy. It was absolutely the guy in this league you want on the ladder there.
Yeah.
That was sick. I mean, it just looks like they kept Kyler contained, but more so the last couple of weeks they've been able to run the ball, and Arizona was not.
Montgomery's a fucking tank.
Yeah, no,
I'm kicking myself for not. I didn't draft him once in any of my best ball leagues either. Like, man, I should have grabbed him. He's a not sexy pick, but goddamn if he isn't outscoring Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, that's something too. Is so he's my third running back in my ESPN league, my friends league, and for my flex option, I had to choose between him, Chuba Hubbard, and Deontay Johnson this week.
Hopefully you didn't pick the wrong one.
I did pick the wrong one.
You put Chuba?
Monty, he had 21. Hubbard had almost 28. Johnson had 26. So
wait, Chuba had 28 points?
Oh, dude. I guess we got to talk about that Carolina game next. Holy cow.
Yeah, I didn't see. I just know I'm playing him, and I was like, oh, crap. I thought I had that in the bag, but maybe not.
No. So Dalton had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay, do you know what the score of that game was? It was 36-22 Carolina.
Yeah, I saw they kind of blew him out.
Dalton had a 123 pass rating, threw for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks.
How damning.
Hubbard had 114 yards rushing. Deontay Johnson had 8 for 122 and a touch. Hubbard had 5 for 55 and a touch. I mean, it was a true offense. Thielen had a sick between 2 defenders diving into the end zone touchdown catch before he pulled up.
Oh, I got it. Oh, go figure.
They went nuts. So now, before the game, they said, and I think we're just about to lead into this, Bryce Young, he's benched, but he's not done for the year. Like he's just taking a break. So they put the middle schooler in timeout. So yeah, that's damning. Did you see that picture? We got to find that picture where he's coming into camp. He's got this massive backpack, and he's only like 5'9".
Oh, really? I haven't seen that one.
They'll call it 6 foot in the stat book, but that's like calling Derek Rose 6'4".
Right.
He's not, right? But the backpack was literally shoulder to ass cheeks. Like it was that big of a backpack because he's that little of a dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. They put him in timeout, and Dalton comes in first game. He looked terrible when he was playing with the Bears and Matt Nagy. He does not look good last year when he was playing with the Saints. And just out of nowhere with the lowly, worst team in the league, Carolina Panthers, new head coach, don't know nothing. First game against a decent defense, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and they put up 36 points. So that was even more damning to me than the fact that Bryce got benched. It's that he got benched, and the old guy nuked.
I'll take it a step further. Damning for Bryce Young, damning for the entire league for trying to force these goddamn rookie quarterbacks into starting roles. It shows so much,
preach.
Like these, I think it goes to this point of how much the league's been dumbed down for all these young offensive, especially quarterbacks, but probably other offensive players, offensive line, wide receivers, that a veteran can come in the exact same system where Bryce Young floundered. He looked terrible. and he played perfect. He played perfectly and tore the other team up. Now we'll see if they can keep doing it next week when they have, when the next team has footage on Dalton. But yeah, it's like I'm going to put myself in GM's shoes, and I'm just wondering, it's like, why are you drafting rookie quarterbacks into bad situations and starting them? Have we not seen enough bad examples of this yet?
Tepper's an outlier, though. That guy's a joke.
Yeah, he's wild. But like, if it was me in a GM shoes and I was trying to rebuild, it's like, build the offensive line first, build the defensive line, build the like, you got to build through the trenches. I really think that it's not sexy. And here's the thing. I don't think the offensive line and the defensive line get people to buy tickets. I think that's why the GMs go out and get the sexy picks.
But there's your answer. Therein lies your answer. It's not their fault. It's our fault. We're the no attention span having, fantasy point needing guys that want the sexiest turned up to 10 on every freaking move. We're not patient enough to let things like just percolate and come together and make a nice soup out of things. I want it fast. I want it hot. I want it ready and now. And that's exactly it. You're going down that vein, and you're totally right. I've been saying the rookie quarterback should sit 1 year no matter what. Caleb Williams should be sitting, but they can't because it's a business and there's too much invested, too much capital. It's like, oh, my brother texted me. He's like, I think Bryce Young is dead inside. If he wasn't already, he is now in reaction to the redheaded, soulless ginger.
Dude, yeah, right. If not, yeah, getting your job taken and then shit on by a fucking ginger. Oh man.
hey, easy. I got a little bit in there, easy. But I texted back. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But something tells me that $38 million he got for being 1-1, I think he's gonna sleep okay.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Just crazy the state the league is in. Yeah, because
one more thing on the Carolina before we jump off it. So everyone obviously knows Tepper's nuts, and he's just the guy pulling the strings and doesn't know enough football. He knows business. Obviously, he's a bajillionaire, whatever. He took not even a coordinator, a quarterbacks coach from Seattle, and made him, and then he went to Tampa, and then he's offensive coordinator at Tampa. He took that guy and made him a 6-year deal for Alice. Well, you put a halfway decent, competent, not even halfway decent, a C- quarterback, and they put up over 300 passing yards in 1 week. And you look over at Tampa Bay, where he just left. They can't run the ball. Baker's looking terrible against a Denver defense.
Who's even calling the plays for Tampa? Do you know?
Canales was.
But who's doing it? Who's doing it right now?
Right now, I think it's either Robinson or Cohen. Both are from the McVay tree. Robinson was, I think, a position coach from the Rams, and Cohen was an offensive coordinator for 2 years at Kentucky. But before that, he was with.
Dude, that Rams Super Bowl run made a lot of families a lot better off. Holy crap! Everyone associated with that, every coach associated with that Super Bowl run.
Well, you got OC
got promoted.
You got Cohen. Thomas is our assistant offensive coordinator. He was with the Panthers last year, but he was Brian Thomas. He was there. He's on the Bears now as the coach. We just said those 2 coordinators because then the other one's the coordinator for Kirk in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many others are sprinkled throughout the league? I don't know, but I'm sure there's dozens.
Yeah.
Waldron comes from that tree. Not the Shanahan tree. Now it's the McVay tree, because the Shanahan tree errs on the side of running the ball more, whereas McVay is throw the ball more.
Yeah.
But it's all still from that Mike Shanahan offense.
Yeah. Crazy.
At least we got off the whole Belichick tree thing. That was just brutal football to watch.
Unless you're a fan of defense. Well,
yeah, but it's not even the defense.
All of his acolytes did terrible. Yeah. Everyone that was under him did terrible. Although Brian Flores was a Belichick guy, but Matt Patricia, obviously, huge failure. Who's the other?
Flores had to fail before he could walk, because again, scandal found him in Miami, where he's allegedly paid to tank games, and then you have the infamous Tua thing that we heard from this year. And,
yep.
I mean, it was just stuff. You don't hear about that from McVay, Shanahan guys.
No.
It's like it seems to me the analogy was like Belichick guys like, do what I do the way that I do it, and that's how it's going to work. Whereas McVay and Shanahan, they seem to be like taught All right, this is a philosophy. There's a way to insert yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna come off that rant for now.
Okay.
Because it's gonna get a little redundant for those who decide to tune in.
Yeah. Well, let's put a cherry on top of this podcast. 2 more segments. Maybe we should have started with this one, but knee-jerk reactions. We should probably just start with this one because I feel like we've talked through things too much now. But knee-jerk reaction to the Bears. What the fuck's going on? Are you making the playoffs?
That is my knee-jerk reaction. What the fuck is going on? That is my knee-jerk reaction. There's nothing else to talk about.
Well, listen,
Run
Jason.
the damn ball, but you can't. There's no offensive line play. There's no identity to anything. I understand we're week 3. I get it, but there's not even a clue. So you just did it right there. What the fuck is going on?
Listen, as a Vikings fan, my knee-jerk reaction is also, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is like, what's happening? Like, I'm not like, we're winning. Right? Have you guys been in Minnesota long? This isn't how we do things. We blow.
Buckle in, baby.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of week 3 pecking orders getting established, buckling in for the ride. We'll see how long the Vikings can keep it up and if they're legit or not.
Absolutely. We have to keep the temperature going there, huh?
All right, 5 minutes. Let's talk fantasy. How'd your teams do this week?
I'm nervous to look. Well, I'm looking here. Guillotine, I got chopped in week 2.
That sucks ass, dude. That sucks ass.
Brutal. What really got in my craw is I picked Hawkinson late just to have him, and so to fill in for Hawkinson, kind of hoping to get through the first couple of weeks, I had Dallas Goedert, who knew diddly shit the first couple of weeks, and I picked him because Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, has a history of being tight end friendly. Well, today he goes nuclear, 10 for 170.
Yep.
Didn't even score. 10 for 170. What the actual fuck? So my what the actual fuck on fantasy, Dallas Goedert, Devin Singletary, Jawan Jennings of the Niners, go look that one up. Andy Dalton, which we beat the hell, and Chuba Hubbard. The 5 of that helped absolutely nobody this week.
Yeah, that was a crazy week. I mean, are you suffering from it? Are you getting some support from that? As a Devin Singletary truther, I'm feeling great. Drafted him pretty regularly because I was like, he seems like he could be like a diet version of Saquon Barkley in like the 8th round. And how many points did he have this week? I thought it was just like 16.
In the 20s.
Hell yeah.
That was something better than he was supposed to be, depending on your format. So I'm doing okay. A lot of booms, a lot of busts. Deontay Johnson in a couple leagues is actually one that really paid off. I listened to you on that one. That was a good feeling. But having neighbors in a couple leagues, that helped a lot.
Yep. I got him in one.
I'm probably going to go 2-1 this week. Overall, I'm still pretty terrible. I've got Mahomes in a couple leagues going right now. DK's been killing it for me this year. I
drafted the shit out of DK, dude. If they're big and they're physical wide receivers, I want them just because I think they're more durable.
Yep.
So I drafted a lot. I drafted a lot of AJ Brown, which is kicking me in the ass on the best ball drafts a little bit. But I thought DK was way undervalued. I was like, I think this dude's set. Like he might have a career year this year.
I love it. Brock Bowers in a couple leagues, ETN in a couple leagues. We'll see how ETN does tomorrow. I got totally screwed by Mark Andrews because I have to choose between Mark Andrews and Dalton Kincaid every week. So yeah, that's a thing.
Oh my God. Going into this podcast, I was looking at a perfect football week. I was going to have my team win and all 3 of my fantasy teams were all looking solid. I'm looking now, things have changed drastically, Jason.
What do you need?
I was kicking the shit out of my intern in the work league going into this. I had to just double check this because all of a sudden my win percentage is down to 19% because this motherfucker has Rashee Rice.
Oh, is he going off right now?
He's got 23 points, but I think he just got injured. I saw on the side, I think he got injured.
Did he really? Because that would be huge for me. Because I got Xavier Worthy in a couple leagues, and okay, so right now, we were texting during the week. I got a guy in the league that offered me Tyreek Hill for Lamar Jackson, Xavier Worthy, and we're like, yeah, pump the brakes a little bit. That'd be sweet if it worked, but I kind of want the depth at quarterback because I got Kyler as my backup. And if Rashee goes down, that's going to make me look real flipping good because I think Tyreek had 3 balls for 30 yards or 4 balls for 40 yards.
Yeah, like 5 points.
Yeah, not worth it. So thank you on that one.
I think he was on the sidelines afterwards. I'm not sure how severe it was, but he looked like he was in a lot of pain when he went down. Anyway,
the Twitter sphere's got to say. Go ahead.
I'm up to 21%. It just went from 19 to 21.
Oh yeah.
The other league, also, I was crushing it going into this. I'm down to 65% again because this fucking guy has Rashee Rice. And also one of these classic games, I'm projected for 155 points. Should win you most weeks. Of course, I'm playing the one guy that's fucking challenging me. I would stop every other team in the league, and now this guy's up to a projected 147 points with Lamar, Rashee, New York Jets defense. Butker apparently is scoring a lot. He had Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm a lot less confident. I'm playing my brother in the fantasy or the family league.
Update from 9 minutes ago on Twitter. Chief star wide receiver Rashee Rice appears to be okay and jogged off.
Bummer. Well, hopefully he doesn't play anymore this game. I don't need him scoring any more points. So all that is to say, I was feeling real good going into this pod, and now it's back to 50-50 in like all my leagues, and I freaking hate it. Really am not a fan of this. So we'll see. Hey, that's fantasy for you.
It's something too is where I had Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow. That's my one league. I got to pick between those two, and I picked Joe Burrow, and that looked like a great decision halfway through the fourth quarter. And then he goes and runs one in and then throws for 2 in like the last 3 minutes of the game because they were down 28 to.
Yeah, we were watching that at my wife's family's, and we went to dinner when it looked like they had no chance, and we came back and we were like, oh. It was a close game, and Dak Prescott racked up 30 fantasy points.
379, 2 touchdowns passing, 7 yards rushing, and a touchdown there. Yeah, he went nuts. Okay, quick rant. Happens to the Bears a ton, especially the Fangio's defense, because that was a big complaint last week with the Eagles defense.
That prevents all it does is prevent you from winning.
Prevents you from winning. Dude, nothing else to say than we're on the same page, but dude, what are we doing? As a former safety myself, what are you doing?
How does it make sense to just Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to give up 15 to 20 yards for free every play. You
literally neuter your talent. Okay, guys, I don't trust you enough to not fuck up, so I'm going to fuck up for you. That's basically what you're doing when you're doing soft zones. It's nuts in that scenario.
I hate it. So I think everyone hates it. Enough said.
It's all the stupid analytics, people coaching on analytics as opposed to coaching by philosophy, trusting your team, like all that type of stuff. Like the coaching is gone. For as much as we were pumping up coaching earlier, there's something to be said there, but the opposite side of the bad coaching is the ones that coach all on analytics. I mean, Campbell in Detroit, it's really paid off, but that's how they lost last year. In the last minute,
they use analytics when they're running fake punts on their fifth.
Yes, that's their fourth downs. That's their excuse. My guys are going to get it. It's the analytics. We know we can do it. My guys can get it. Tough grit, kneecap biting son of a bitches that they are. They're going to get it. Analytics. It's like, dude, play football.
Crazy. Well, I think that's a good point to spot to wrap it up. I personally hope Joe Burrow doesn't do well because Jamar Chase is going to be a deciding factor in one of my games, or at least I hope he just throws an Iosa Viciasis way a lot, whatever that guy's name is.
I need about 20 from T, otherwise I'm
That's fine. I hope he feeds T then. I can live with that.
Joe Burrow and T tied together on that one, so I really would like that matchup to be a thing.
All right, I'll be cheering for them.
I appreciate you. Thank you.